Hello, my name's Matt Young. I'm the offensive coordinator, inside receiver coach, Sulphur Springs, Texas. I've been here for 12 years, and today I got an opportunity to share with you how to get maximum gains from your H-back. We've been running an offense with an H-back for approximately 6 seasons with a variety of success. And it's been kind of something that grows with the kids that you have. Big questions you have to answer right off the bat. You got to find an H-back in your program. Who's going to be that guy? You got to really look at who's going to be the backup. The more you include or try to get gains from this position with the stuff we're going to go into, you better have somebody behind him, or else you're going to lose a big chunk of your offense if you lose your starter. And then as you go down in your program, you got to find and develop those guys. We're always going to start with somebody that can block. That's the first thing we're going to look for in a guy. We're going to look for guys that are kind of glorified tackles. It might be our third tackle. It may be a skill kid who really we wanted to move him to tackle when he was younger, but it just wasn't the kind of kid that would do it. It may be the hardest working lineman you have that's not in your top 5. Right now, we're working with a kid that actually was a backup quarterback in junior high. He's sprouted in about 6'4", 210. And that length is going to help him open up some stuff. But our backup to him right now, we got 2. We got one that's that guard that works really hard and squats 600 pounds, kind of your old school fullback. Actually, I played with his dad. His dad was a fullback. And or we got a more skill kid that can come in there that is our backup quarterback. So he's not going to bring the physicality the other one will, but he may open up some of the passing game and some of the cross blocking that we're going to do. So that's really a key is who you got there. It's not somebody to have to do that in that position all the way growing up. It's really where you're looking to find an X-factor kid, a kid that can be coached in some details. A kid can handle some of the nuance you got in your run game. The more physical he is, the more advantage there. The more skilled he is, the more advantage he is for maximum gains. You kind of got to look at what your base run game is as far as the kind of kid that has to be there. We're going to run some power. We want a kid that can dig out the defensive end. That's going to be one of the first requirements. We're going to run some zone stuff. Now it takes somebody that's not quite as physical. You need to look at what your quarterback run game is. What's this guy going to be able to do to help in that area as he leads blocks and crosses and some different things that we'll go over today. A big thing that plays with the H-back, what role will play action play in your offense? The ability of this position, the ability of the H-back to get maximum gains are things this guy can bring to the position, but also just in your play action in general, there's always a strong tendency. People talk about Auburn all the time. Find their H-back and he's going to take you to the play. Well, I've got to have play action in that to take advantage of where people may overcommit. And then last, this is something that gets left out, and I think it's a big deal that we've kind of uncovered over the last few years, but what are your basic screen concepts? And then how this H-back may play into that. So we're looking for what's the most we can get out of this player, playing to the kid's strength. What's the kid that we have? What can he do? But also what he gives us against defenses. All right, so obviously I started with this, the role that he has in the run game. That's going to be the first thing that we've got to be able to have is him to be able to block in our run game. So for us, we're going to run what we call middle zone. He's going to have some lead responsibility. He's going to have to cross. There's going to be times where you ask him to insert. We're going to line up and we're going to run some power. He's got to dig the end. Then there's going to be some stretch read where he gets out on the perimeter. There's going to be counter where he's got to pull up through the hole. And then another one, and blocking-wise, is just him out in space. But run game-wise, those are the main things that we're going to ask of him. All right, there we go. So the first clip you're going to see is us running power. We're going to start off with him. You're going to see through this cut-ups come over the last 3 seasons. So you're going to see 3 different kids there and really 3 pretty different kids. This first young man was a guy that's kind of lost without a position. He had worked his tail off, good-looking kid, couldn't really get on the field for us defensively. So the first thing we're going to ask him to do is to dig out a defensive end. So you can see our base alignment. We're going to be behind the tackle about a yard. And when he's working his J block on the end, he's got to get inside, then turn out. But really just looking for him to be physical. Right here, he does a good job initially off the ball, but loses him in contact as we go. But he's got to be able to handle the different defensive ends that we play. And this is our downhill run game and really vital in what role he plays there. Now, the next thing we'll ask him to do, here he's actually split out. So he's what we just call a flex. So we've taken him in the same position and just moved him out a little bit because we knew the defense would do something similar. And he's on a lead block on an outside linebacker. So this is our young man we had 2 seasons ago, and you can see the physicality that he brings. He's got to be able to handle outside linebackers, and really we look for an advantage there. That's one of those gains you can get when you got a kid at the H-back that can handle outside linebackers like that. We're going to get sudden movement at the point of attack, great engage, good base, but we're definitely going to eliminate the edge or get our edge that we want. You can see here he finishes the blocks all the way. That kid actually right there also played punter for us. Kind of crazy what different guys can do. So the first young man you saw was about 5'11", 215. Then this season we had this guy right here was about 6'4", 190. Not as heavy, not as strong, not a weight room guy, but his length and the ability to be physical gave him an advantage on the outside. So, those are 2 things we're asking him to do run game wise. Now we'll go ask him to cross, or actually digging out the end on the backside of zone, not going to cross yet. Really similar to the power block, nothing big there, just got to get the backside end cut off. Okay, here's where you're going to see him go cross. Look at him, really tight to scraping paint. So he's got to have some of that O-line discipline in him where he'll handle the details. If he's a little bit loose here, that end would get inside of us. Does a good job of what we call scraping paint and making sure we get the backside end cut off. And it ended up being a good play for us because of other things, but he does his job on the backside. What you're going to see, these base run plays that are coming up with each of them, you're going to see some of these ways to take advantage of them and get maximum gains from the H-back. And here's the insert. So he's on a cross. He's going to look to find daylight working inside and then go find his linebacker. Not always clean, but he's going to stay active and go get a block, give our running back a chance to make a cut. Here's a stretch read. So we go back to him again being able to block on the perimeter. You can see him get out. This doesn't end up being clean. He'll end up having the end, but it just shows how we need him to be able to be out in space and be able to run. These are all things we're looking for in those kids. So, we were talking about who's playing there. A third offensive tackle, not a bad thing. He's going to give you the physicality, but can he get out in space and do some of this blocking? For him to be a consideration, that's what we're going to need to see. So we're actually, this year, we're looking at a guard who's kind of been really spent most of the year as a pulling guard and see if he can help us for some depth at this position. Okay, so what are other things that we can do? That's mainly the run game you're going to see from us. That's what we expect. So that's where everything starts as far as the H-back goes. He's got to be able to do those things. Now, so how do we take advantage of the defense? So all that's just base. That's on the lineup. He's got to be able to do those things. Those things we're going to ask of our younger kids coming up, that they can block the perimeter, they can dig out an end, and as it progresses, being able to cross and block in space. So we start to see what those kids can do. So the next thing is anything in your offense, you're always looking at what's the answer. As guys start playing those things better, or what are we going to have? So the first thing we're going to have is play action. You're basically going to see 3 different things we do. The first one is what we call a dump. What we're looking for, this could be off of any of our zone action, and we're really looking to see, do they have a defender lined up over the top that's taking this away? So you can see right here, we're going to run zone left. O-line's going to climb. We're going to work to block the end, maybe hands on just a touch, and then we're going to work vertical. Now, we really like this when teams linebackers step toward the line of scrimmage at the snap. They play downhill because it opens up a lot of space. This is where it's also, and you'll see here in the catch that the clip I show you, this is where it has a nice advantage of having a tall receiver in this spot, because you're going to have a wall of bodies in front of the quarterback, but you're liable to have a wide open receiver behind it. So we're really looking to see how this safety lines up and where the weak safety is. And then based on those guys, we've got answers in front of it. Let's go to the zone clip, the huddle clip here. we've got him lined up. This is on the left side of the formation. If you'll notice, we stacked him just to try to pull these guys a little bit wider. This safety's almost over the weak side tackle, so we got a window of opportunity. What we're teaching the quarterback right here is he's really just watching the backer step up. If he likes to throw, take the throw. And yes, I know you're going to say, well, the defensive end on the backside's unblocked. Yes. But we're also calling it against a team that we know is not jetting up the field on him and is not playing a hard heel line run. That's not really what we want to do out from this scheme. We don't want to throw the dump. So ball snapped. He's going to ride. The longer he can ride this, the better. It gives him a chance to see it. You can see him kind of hop sideways, and then we're splitting it right down the middle of the field. With this much grass, it would be okay for that H-back to kind of work back into the hash to kind of stay away from these receivers on the far side and the secondary on the far side. You notice the end turns in. He gets a little bit of hands, but we don't want to really be noticed. We want to slide out and get eyes around. And really, you can catch this ball right here. He catches at 10, but he may catch this ball at 5 because he's open at that time. It's all on quarterback feel. Notice here the hop sideways. That's not normal on our zone. That's to give him a little bit of time to let's see if this guy gets out clean. So that's one way to keep him honest in our run game. We're going to block the backside edge. We're going to dig out that end. But we're going to be able to hit that dump over the top. This is, once or twice a game, it keeps defenses honest. It helps you dictate where the safeties are going to play. Now, the next thing is we're going to go naked. We're big naked. You can do it with naked or boot. We do it a lot out of pistol to help with the naked, but we're going to release him into the flat. So there's two ways that we do it. He's either going to go from the play side, which is where he's going to really collision this in and kind of do the old Jason Witten pivot out in the flat. Want to have delay. He's going to kind of help secure the edge so we get out. And then he's going to be flat down the line of scrimmage. We don't want to gain any ground. We want to keep him flat and be able to take him right now if he's open. And then we'll have a drag on the backside. We could flip the formation, bring the H over here where we have 3 receivers, and now it turns into a flood concept. But the big thing is he's on that play side helping secure the edge. That's one way we'll go with our naked. The next thing we'll do is we'll bring him all the way across. So we'll have him over there to the 3 receiver side. It could be 2 receiver side. It doesn't matter, but we'll bring him across behind. Ooh, we'll bring him across behind. Now, when he gets here with this defensive end, if the end is squeezing, we want to try to avoid over the top. We don't want to go underneath. We go underneath, it makes it easy for that end to redirect to the quarterback. So over the top, and most ends we play when we do this are trying to spill us anyway, so it plays natural for us to go over the top. So this is a great answer. Lower levels, this is going to break out early in a junior high game, in a freshman game, and make sure other teams are sound in how they're covering it. A lot of times we'll run right by them with a cross and H-back because the outside backer has quarterback responsibility. So this is one that gets thrown out early and then obviously come back to throughout the game depending on how people are playing. Now, we can do it with lots of different formations. I don't know, you follow Coach McCarthy now with the Cowboys, talked about creativity over volume. So this is how we run naked. We're just going to present it hopefully a different way each week. So it's not something the defense recognizes. But we're going to make it where they got to find to make sure they're sound, that they have somebody to cover our H-back. All right, so one thing we want to do is we want to get our head around quick and get the ball out to the H-back and getting the ball, let him run. The one thing you have is you got a big guy that can run. This is a ball he's going to catch multiple times each day in practice. It's a big part of what we do, so he's comfortable with it. And we want to let the big man rumble. It gets a little excitement. These guys will get down the field and make big plays. And we've got each kid each year, really doesn't matter what kind of hands the guy has. They tend to get where they can catch this ball, make an easy throw and easy catch. And for different teams, there's different ways to do it, whether you're bringing them around behind. If you're worried about the end playing the naked too quick, it's better to have the H-back on the side of the defensive end instead of crossing him. So that's one of those things that can be helpful. All right, so obviously we run some naked, we work away. We've thrown him dump, so those 2 versions of play action. Then you got to have your last little wrinkle, which is, I'm not going to full slide. All right, so here we go. Then we go throwback. So we've gone naked left, or we can go naked right. I've got to draw him naked left. We had a left-handed quarterback that year. That's one tip. You always want to on your throwback. You want to go to the strength of that quarterback's arm. So we're going left. We got an out route. We got the Z on the right clearing out. Our Y is going to stay in and give a little bit of protection. And then especially against a team with no overhang, he sure gets lost leaking out the backside. So you've gone naked, you've thrown naked. They got it on film for 3 weeks. He's catching it twice a game for about 15 to 20 a pop. They're concerned about your naked. You've thrown other routes over here, leaving the pocket. Then this is what you come back and get, especially teams trying to play man. You do a good job of your Z, maybe a 2-step slant if you're worried about the corner lingering, but he works right across the top of this safety to try to wall him off if he is doing his job. So we're going to aim at his top shoulder and make sure he doesn't get a clean run over here to play the throwback if he sees it. All right, so if you'll look here, even with an overhang right here, he's tight run responsibility. There's the safety playing outside leverage on our H-back. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be great as far as alignment, but as far as understanding responsibility through the game, this is in the second half. We'd already gone our naked the other way, so we had a pretty good feel of what we were going to get. There's a little bit of collision, leak out late, and there he is going to be wide open to catch touchdown. Quarterback does a good job of staying in, making a throw. One of the key points back here, we're actually boot on this one, so we got a guard out there that should help. Quarterback does a good job of getting depth. We're not looking for width. When we throw the throwback, we want depth because it helps us get time. The running back kind of leaves him hanging right here. You're not blocking the backside end, and so he's got to make a throw. You can see on the backside, the outside receiver doesn't get across the top of the safety, but you can see him across his face just trying to get the attention of the safety. Got him enough. If we'll keep our toes in bounds, it'll be a touchdown. But so you think about it, you've hurt them to the naked side, the safety doing their job, linebackers are gone. And then again, this is really the biggest thing with the H-back to me, and you'll see as we keep kind of going through the other things we do with them, is people lose track of this guy. They've got to really play assignment football or you're going to end up getting him for a big play. So the throwback's a big play, the dump's a big play, and then obviously for us, just naked's just a staple to go to. All right. So now blocker in space. This really depends on the player that you have, but the guys that we have, we need them to be able to line up and run. We're going to run routes from that spot. I'm not going to get into route concepts. You can see there the kid that we had, that one he could run. He actually played some JV running back a little bit when he was coming up. The other guy, you saw in an earlier clip, not quite as tall. He ran the 100-meter dash when he was in 8th grade. He didn't go win any medals, but he can run. You need guys. So one thing we're able to do is take advantage of those guys out in space, kind of like you see some of those great clips of big linemen running on screens. We're going to do things with these H-backs to take advantage of their ability to move and then the size they have to handle outside linebackers. So one of the first things we have is what we call bark. This is off our middle zone. We're going to cross the end. We're playing an end that's spilling. We're playing an end that's taking us out. We're playing an end that's being extremely physical. He's squeezing hard. The thing we're going to come to is we're going to come at him hard, and right before we get there, we're going to dip our inside shoulder and outside release. And so the quarterback is going to have the read of this defensive end, and if he's playing the technique that we expect, he comes in hard, we're going to pull, and we're going to follow our H-back around to the outside. And we're going to take first threat. If there's not immediate threat, our eyes are inside for maybe a gap exchange, and then we'll work all the way up to the safety, depending on the front that we're playing. But we're going to start now. This is not always a give, not always a pull. Not always a pull. Occasionally it's a give. It's all based on what the defensive end does. So it doesn't put us in a bind, but it's going to get our H-back out in space blocking and give us a chance to run our quarterback. That's one way we get him outside in space. The next thing we'll do is what we call a dash. So we'll do it off power. Well, how does everybody want to stop power from an even front? They're going to knife their end underneath our H-back. We're going to come at them a couple of steps, real slight engage. And the big part here is getting the timing down with the quarterback. On this one, the quarterback's really expected to pull unless this end just does something stupid. If he jumps outside, we'll hand power and get 8 yards a pop on power. But when he's really in here creating a mess, knifing inside of us, we're going to go hands-on, and we want to time this out to where when he pulls, I leave. And it becomes the same block that he had on Bark. He's going to work out in space, take the first threat outside. Nothing outside. He's going to work inside up to the safety. So depending on the leverage, how this guy plays, this could be a kick. If we got a safety spun down or the outside linebacker playing on the line of scrimmage, knife hard, kick this guy wide, which this H-back can do. Remember, he's that tackle type body, so he can kick him and we'll get inside. But it's really good answer to that end knifing in, and as far as another way to get your quarterback outside where you're playing 2-on-1 with your skill kids in space. The last way that we'll take advantage of him, we'll run him around. I don't know about you guys, the old staff debate, what's an around? If you grew up playing old Madden games, the around was where you directly hand it to the receiver. So for us, this is an around. So we're going to cross just like middle zone. It's really similar to Bart for the H-back. He's on a cross. The end's going to squeeze. We're going to dip our shoulder and get outside. All we're going to do here is fake the zone one way and hand to our receiver coming around the other way. Again, playing to the strength of our H-back, which is him being out in space, blocking smaller defenders. Guys that aren't used to taking on guys like him, they tend to run around and evade, which lets our skill guy have space to go make a play. So what do these look like? So now you're going to see a little different look as far as presentation goes. You can cross this guy and bark, or you can do the bark from the same side like we block zone away. This is from this year, so you're seeing a little different kids here. On the play side, we're out right now. So from the play side, we're not worried about baiting them a little bit. We want a quick read. Crossing, it's a little easier to see. It's actually wrong by the second H-back coming across. But the end squeezing, and we're out and pulling, we got numbers. The great example here is what it looks like when you get an H blocking a corner. Okay, especially if you got a guy with feet. The better feet he has, the better he does. But we get movement, and he creates grass for us to run, and we're out in space in a hurry. You know, what does this do? Well, the next week, the team we played, they weren't chasing. They kept this guy out here. So now there's one less guy to tackle the zone, and we're handing the ball to who we want to. All right. So here's another look at the bark. So here's the end. This is this year's kid. This is the young kid we played with this season and have down the road. Again, about 6'2", 6'3". This kid just came up from the JV probably the week before this. So just showing what he had already coming up. There's our bark action. This one we get the gap exchange. The end goes inside. The backer fits outside. We're around him. The lineman's got him. And now we're looking for the outside linebacker. Again, easy read for the quarterback. And he knows, hey, I got a blocker in space. I'm great. One question people always have, all right, what if they're bringing one off the edge? If they're bringing one off the edge, if they're bringing two, our rule's always been give. But the one thing to understand, it depends on what quarterback you have. This guy going ought to smoke the second guy. So it turns into a trap block. It comes back to really just reading him. His read is a give, then give it. If his read is a pull, let's pull it and let's go. Just understand right here, you may have to cut up. All right, another look at the bark. Okay, here's an end slow playing, but he went far enough. He's playing with square shoulders. You know, you can go in and game plan. If my guy is better than his guy and he's standing even with me, well, I'm going to pull and run. All right? A lot of times we get caught up in coaching, oh, his shoulders are square, it's a give. Well, let's make sure we think personnel. Great fake by the quarterback right here. You can see it transfer from right to left, right foot to left foot, eyes on his read. You know, one thing I hadn't mentioned, great fake by the running back. One thing we talk about when we do this and dash is we really like to see our running back get tackled. This is one of those good examples where the running back goes 5 yards downfield before he stops. There's our H-back in space. Now on Bart, we're trying to reach. We want our quarterbacks to run outside. You can see right here how he's working that banana block to try to get to that outside shoulder. He closes space. He does a really good job right here, hands-on. This guy wasn't as physically dominant as some of the others we've had, but he'll get after and engage. That's really what we want. And we get yards on space. Quarterback doesn't get touched, so he's got 8. You got to coach your receivers up. You never know which way the ball's going. Right here, we're doing a little peeking, but then we get engaged and we block. All right, dash. Now here's the dash. You remember we're telling them on dash, we really like you to pull this ball. This is really one where that end kind of plays crazy up the field. He ought to just hand it off. But he gets a great fake, and you'll notice right here, great fake. The H-back, he's trying to get around because that's his job, his hands, and then get around. There's really not anything for him to do right here. If you get a great fake, there's nobody left. He actually walks in while everybody else is still tackling in here. The official doesn't even know he has the ball. But again, that's the advantage of this guy, the ability to run power and a good action in the back. We would rather this H-back be a little bit more on the outside inviting, but with the end up the field, again, it probably should have just been a handoff. All right, here's the around. Okay, so we did it from a condensed formation on this one, just to make the timing a little bit better. We've got an end on the outside. Game plan-wise, game-wise, we've seen he's on a squeeze. We got one outside linebacker to handle, and otherwise we should be on the safety. So numbers, it looks good. Mesh in front, O-line's full zone. The H-back does a great job. He does a great job right here of crossing and avoiding. One of the worst things that can happen is for him to get hit. Boom. So right there, he dips the shoulder to make sure, really invites the end to spilling. It's okay if he gets depth. Notice his linebacker was playing the run. He just avoids and keeps going. Let's go. That's for everybody in the press box. Y'all know it as coaches. Everybody in the press box banging on the table. Go, 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 go. Great job of being physical. This goes back to the advantage of that H-back and taking advantage of his size and his physicality, what he can do to guys in space. But he did a good job staying on his track. He's got an assignment where he's headed, but it really comes down when he does these barks, this bark type action, that he's on block threats. We're not asking him to get over here, look over there and find the guy he has. Understand the concept, understand the technique, then take who shows up. You can see it right here. He does a really good job with eyes back inside. If this backside inside linebacker reacted a little bit quicker, then he would end up taking him. But he's able to outrun him and let's go, and he ends up taking the safety. Okay. So we found the screen game. We throw the slow running back screen and have forever. But what we kind of found is that our running backs, and for about 8 years, they've all been about 5'8" or shorter. And they don't like, one, you got to throw it over a D lineman, tall D lineman, down to them, their backs turned. It wasn't a real easy completion for what it needed to be screen game wise. You just miss it over the top of them and everybody, ooh, ah. All right, so let's look at screen game. So we got him on the right side. We're going to do things to distraction. We're going to draw defensive eyes. There's some quick motion coming across. He does a good job of stepping in. Remember, we want him to hide behind the center. Wide angle. This is the best team. I mean, they got a safety outside the weak side tackle. They got a backer that's out of the box. They got to cover two corners. Not the best look for it. But we got eyes this way, linebackers this way. Do a good job of clearing the D line. Don't want to cross his face, but he's able to do it. Out flat. We get a little bit downfield making this catch. Rather be a little flatter. Then turn and let's run. You can see here you get two big boys out in front, and we got a body for a body. So really the thing with this is all the different ways that we can disguise it. Same game, same thing, basically going the other way. This time he drifts again downfield, trips his own lineman, we end up dropping the pass. So important to be out flat as a receiver. One, so we want some space after we catch the ball to make a cut off of our O-line. All right, different opponent. Now this one, we got everybody on this side. All tendencies say, hey, expect the ball here. Be a little bit to worry about there. We've got both backers in the box. We got a weak safety sitting on the hash. Again, we're going to give a little bit of eye candy. So the back swings out. We've thrown fast screens. We throw quick game over here. Got a hard end up the field. Makes it pretty easy to get out on the weak side. We, again, make contact with the D-line, which is not what we want. That contact right there gives this guy a chance to make a play. There's one linebacker left on the weak side. Only one guy for 20-something yards. We got two blockers. So a good cut by this H-back. It helps his ability. The more ability those guys have out there, the bigger the plays you can get. But a great way to get that guy in space. because he can make plays. Again, his height, the guys we're going to play there are going to have some length. It makes throwing this screen over these guys a whole lot easier. And these guys don't get the ball as much as the running back, so they're happy to get it wherever way they can. All right, check the presentation here. Back to our motion across. And we're just going to hide him on that right side. Does a better job here working back to the ball so he's not running into his lineman, and then go be a playmaker after you catch it. Get north. That's one thing to remind these tall receivers, tall H-back. We don't need him out there trying to make cuts and make moves. We need him to run. Here it is back to the left side. We swung our back. Got some attention here. We'll throw stick over here a lot. Getting back on that weak side. It's the time the quarterback takes, the patience of the H-back. Even the backside inside linebacker gets across the hash. And we got a big play. Sealed them off inside, and hopefully we're able to outrun the D-line. Sometimes we're not. Most teams we play. All right, now, the last thing I'll go to, I've got a clip in the PowerPoint, but really I can just say it right here. You know, depending on the kid you have at H-back, the possibilities are limitless. You know, we play with them and joke with them every year that we'll hand them the ball. Put them in the backfield and run base with them. We actually had it in for a guy this past season. We didn't call it. We threw it to him in lots of different ways. But this guy, a couple of years ago, we even put him in a heavy package where he was a quarterback because he would run downhill. And it just plays into the same idea that I'm going to do or take advantage of what our kids can do. So here's a big guy. Remember, we had just small running backs. We didn't have a real physical running quarterback. So it's just a token fake, ends up being downhill power. We're pulling another H-back from the backside, and he splits it right down the middle for a house call. So, I mean, really the biggest thing in all this is to take advantage, one, what defenses are doing, making sure they respect what's going on, what you have with your H-back, because he can get lost. You want to make sure that you take advantage of what your kid can do. Understand that it leads to a lot of explosive plays, whether it's in his hands or him being a part of the equation. The defense playing assignment football, the misdirection in it, from him crossing on some of his blocking assignments to him slipping on naked, helps with that. And then he also attacks vertical and horizontal, whether it's him in the flat and naked side to side or him stretching the field on dump. He definitely adds an element to the offense. So I hope you got something for this. It's always great to talk ball. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I got my information on the screen. I got email address, myoung@ssisd.net. And then you can also find me at Twitter at CoachYoung75. So I'll be happy to share any of this. Not secrets. This is stuff I get just like y'all watching other games, having ideas, what ifs, and looking for answers in what we already do. So everybody stay safe, enjoy learning football, and give me a call if you need anything. Thank you.